Today we will be learning how to graph quadratics from the standard form, which was lesson 3.2 of our semester 1. Here is the standard form equation, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now here I have drawn out some basic general shapes of a parabola. You can have a parabola facing down, facing up, facing down, and facing up again. These are just some general shapes. I mean, once it's like more narrow, like more wide, this one's more narrow, this one can be more steep. I mean, it just depends how it all comes out to play. Moving on to the next slide. How to begin calculating a parabola using the y equals equation. So here we go again to the y equals equation that I just wrote down in the previous slide. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Your ax right here and your bx are the axis of symmetry, the core which this one will be the x-coordinate of the vertex. This one right here, bx, goes directly to this formula over here, that you will need to flip the sign right here, and you will need to write your negative b value divided by 2 times a. A tells us the direction of the parabola. Whether a is positive, it will be facing up, forming a happy face. If a is negative, just think of it, well, it will be facing down. Therefore, just think of it as a sad face. That way you have two ways to differentiate the different shapes that the parabola can face. And lastly, your c is your y-intercept. So, now that you have the ax squared plus bx plus c equation, we can move on for steps to graphing a quadratic formula from the standard form. Here we go to this next slide. Step 1, label a, b, and c values, which is what I have over here. Your a equals, your b equals, and your c equals, and you will get that from this equation right here, which we will find out later on in the next examples. Here we go to step 2, find your axis of symmetry using, again, this formula, negative b over 2a. And that is how you find your AOS, axis of symmetry. Step number 3, find the vertex. So once you do that, for example, you will need to plug in, so this was our axis of symmetry supposedly, okay? So I have pre-worked these problems just so I can go in to explain to you, because I find that that's easier. So if this was our axis of symmetry, then you plug it into the rest of the equation, and whatever you get is your answer, and then that is the other part of your vertex, because this is your x part of your vertex, but you also need your y, because if you remember, your vertex will always equal x and y coordinates. So if you have the x right here, you need to find the y. So that's why you use this equation in order to get this right here, what you're looking for, your y. So it equals your y coordinate, okay? Pretty simple. Step number 4, make an XY chart to find points to plot. So here you have the x and y chart, okay? So you can plot your points. And then step number 5, plot the points from the chart and draw the parabola. So example here, I labeled the parabola right here, and this is what you get right here, your parabola. So it's pretty basic, it's pretty simple, and now that you have this information in your head, you can feel free to pause and get any notes that you want. But I think that for now, or you can rewind and go back, but for now, we can move on to the next slide for some examples. So, here is example number 1. So, y equals x squared plus 2x plus 1. So remember, step 1, label your a, b, and c values. Sorry, right there. So a right here is the x. It's always understood to be a 1 because there's nothing next to it. So of course it'll be positive 1. Don't ever think it'll be negative because it won't. You will just screw yourself up that way. Don't do it. So a equals 1. B right here equals 2, and it's a positive 2. So just leave it there. Write it how you see it, and then your c right here is 1. So now that you have the formula x squared plus 2x plus 1, you can use your AOS equation to find the axis of symmetry. So plug it in, your 2 value, but you have to flip it to a negative. So it will be negative 2 over 2 times 1, which equals negative 1, and that is your AOS, axis of symmetry. So your vertex right here, your x, is the negative 1. Now, to find the y, I will show you how I achieve this. So everywhere you have the equation, like the equation right here, you have to plug it in down here. So everywhere the x is, you will plug in what you got up here, which is the negative 1. So just plug it in, negative 1 squared plus 2 times negative 1 plus 1 equals 0. So there you go. There's the second part of the vertex, is your 0. And that is how I got right here. So this is your completed vertex, negative 1, 0. Now, you can use the same formula, again, the same method that we did to find the rest of your points. I mean, it's pretty basic. Anywhere you see your x, you will put what you got for your axis of symmetry, okay? So, I mean, it's pretty basic. You just keep going and you do the same thing again. Now, moving on to graphing it. This AOS is your negative 1 vertex, right? So then you just draw the parabola. I mean, of course, plot your points that we got from the XY chart over here. Sorry, I jumped ahead of myself. But you got the point, because this is the X and Y points right here. Because you do the same math right here and you end up getting it. Again, you can go back, rewind, pause, whatever you feel free to do, or that is necessary. So once you have your points and you plot it, so this is the axis of symmetry that we got, negative 1. So whatever happened on this side, happened on this side too. So you just plot like that, draw the parabola, and you get this, and it's facing up, okay? So one thing that I didn't write while I was pre-working these, and I apologize for this mistake, was your domain, which of course will always be all real numbers, okay? Oh, I'm so sorry. All real numbers, and then your range is always from highest to lowest. No, sorry, I'm so sorry, from your lowest to highest point. So I guess your lowest point right here is negative 1, and is going up to infinity. So we can write negative 1, comma, infinity. Sorry, my infinities aren't very good. And I can do parentheses right here. No, sorry, bracket this, and then parentheses here. And that is how you get domain and range. Next example is y equals x squared minus 3x minus 10. So step 1, of course, label a, b, and c values. We got that. Then do the AOS formula equation again, negative b over 2a, and I got negative 1.5. That's the x coordinate. Then I went over here, to this other side of the paper, and then I plugged it in to the equation, and then this is what I got for the y value. So this takes us back to over here, which is the y part of the vertex that we were looking for, okay? It's very important. So now again, what we did, your axis of symmetry about negative 1.5, negative 1.5, however you want to do it. And then you just plot whatever happens on this side, happens on, this side too. Whatever happens here, and that is what you end up with. And of course, you finish out the rest of the plots by using this XY chart that we created. Sorry if I'm moving a little too fast, but I kind of have a time limit, as you all know. But of course, feel free to go back, rewind, pause, whatever you feel is necessary. Example number 3, our very last example here. Y equals x squared minus 2x plus 3. Again, step 1, label your a, b, and c values. AOS value, which is step 2, find your AOS. And I got negative 1, that is our x part of the vertex, negative 1. Plug it into the equation right here, the very top one, and I ended up with 6, so then that becomes the y part of our vertex. Once you have the vertex, everything is pretty much smooth sailing, so you can just plug it in again. It's like if you want to find when x is 1, what is y? 2. When x is 2, what is y? It's 3. So you make your XY chart over here with your plots. And you just do this, block it off. I'm so sorry, I'm not good at drawing. And then we go over here and we plot it right here. Your axis of symmetry was -1. Whatever happens here happens over here. What happens here, and that is the parabola, the way it ends up looking. Of course, my drawing is not very great, not very precise, so if you think you can draw better, please, by all means, do it better than me. So, now that we have done all the 3 examples and breezed right through it, which again, go back and apologize, sorry. That was the wrong slide. Now, let's do a quick recap. Step 1, we label the A, B, and C values. Step 2, do your axis of symmetry using this equation, -b over 2a. 3, find vertex. 4, make your XY chart. 5, plot points on graph. Extras, don't forget, positive A equals happy face up. Negative A equals a sad face facing down. Oh, I didn't know that was still open. I apologize. C value is your y-intercept. Don't ever forget that. Don't go around looking for the y-intercept because you have it in the equation. Domain will always be all row numbers. So there are different ways that you can write it right here. And lastly, range is written least to greatest. Sorry, not highest to lowest. I don't know where that came from. It's least to greatest. And thank you for watching Lesson 3.2 on graphing quadratics using the standard form. I look forward to speaking with you all again soon. Thank you.